What's up, everybody? It's the Gold Baron from Gold Baron Paydirt, and I'm really excited for today's video. This video is going to be great whether you're brand new to panning or you're a seasoned prospector. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep dive into how to choose the right paydirt for you. But before we do that, let's get straight to the intro. Alright, so you might be a seasoned panner, or maybe you're a brand new gold panning enthusiast, and there's a lot of paydirts out there. Maybe you see a few on Amazon or on eBay, but you probably, if you've done a deeper dive, have seen that there's hundreds of paydirt options out there. Tons of vendors, tons of great paydirts, lots of really bad paydirts. And you might be looking on YouTube and watching paydirt reviewers, and there's all sorts of different approaches from different reviewers for different paydirts and sellers, and it might be overwhelming. So I'm going to condense it all into one short video on what to look for based on who you are. And I'm going to start with a quick disclaimer. I'm not just going to throw out a plug for our paydirts. I strongly believe that if you're into paydirt, you should be trying paydirts from all over the United States and from all around the world. Different soil has different properties and different things that are enjoyable for different panning experiences. Colorado dirt is totally different from Washington sand, or from dirt from Alaska, or from somewhere on the East Coast. Maybe you're patient enough to ship some paydirt from a more exotic location like Australia with their super high purity gold. I would encourage you to try them all out. That's the exciting part about paydirt is the variety and the diversity of the dirts. So I just get that off my chest. Like, this is not going to be, oh, the Gold Baron has all the best paydirts, because that's not true. We would love for you to buy our paydirt, but we're not going to tell you just to buy our paydirt. We want you to experience the full variety and diversity of the paydirt world. Let's get into it. So I'm going to use an analogy, or is it a metaphor? I'm not sure. We'll just say analogy. So I'm going to use an analogy of buying a car. So there's different cars for different audiences, and I'll have an analogy for each paydirt. So for the first paydirt audience, I'm going to talk about the beginner prospector or the hobbyist. They have a lot of overlap in the paydirts that would work well for them. A beginner prospector, in my opinion, is a lot like a first-time driver. You're not going to buy a brand new car, unless you're really generous, for your 16-year-old kid that just got their license. You want them to get a good value, but you also don't want them to get an accident the next day and just wreck this $100,000 car. By getting them a used car, you might not be giving them the best gas mileage or the most flashy car, but it serves its purpose. It's a great beginner car. Same thing with beginner paydirts. So I actually have right here our Prospector's Claim. This is a beginner's paydirt. It's not super expensive. You're not spending $150 to get a entry-level bag that your 5-year-old is going to be panning, because you want to teach your kid how to pan before you go out on a river and go on a camping trip and do it from a real river. So this is something it's inexpensive. You're not dropping a ton of cash on it, but you're getting good value for a new person, and it's not overwhelming. This is great for kids, it's great for gifts, it's great for someone who's brand new to prospecting. Maybe you have someone in your life that is special needs, and a larger bag might be a little bit overwhelming for them to go through all that material, and so this is good for someone with maybe a short attention span. These are great entry-level paydirts, but you may not be getting the same miles per gallon in value in how much gold you find in the bag. But again, they're great stocking stuffers, and I don't want to spend $150 on a stocking stuffer for my kids necessarily. So this is something that you can buy them, you can throw it in there. Again, you're not maybe getting a ton of gold, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And in these bags, because the gas mileage or the gold value isn't as high, sometimes I do things like bonus bags. So we'll do every 10 bags, I put in double the gold. Sometimes I throw in silver coins from the early 1900s. There's just some fun little surprises that are great again for like kids. If I'm actually going out and I'm gold panning in real life at my gold claim, some spots have more than others. And so that's fun of like, oh, am I going to strike it rich? Am I going to hit a pay streak? That's a very real thing when you're gold panning. So while I'm talking about this, I'm actually going to put a link right here. This is my favorite review of this Paydirt. The reviewer, Backyard Prospecting, had the audience in mind, and he recognized that this isn't meant for an experienced panner who wants to get a ton of gold that's all they care about is like the gold, and they're willing to spend $200 to get this 100% ROI bag, or $300 or $400 to get like the most gold that they possibly can. And he understands that this is meant for kids. It's not meant for somebody who's been panning for 30 years. You're not gonna buy this if that's who you are. You shouldn't. I mean, you should be getting a quarter gram bag that has more material in it. You're getting more money for your value. More value for your money. Same thing with the 1 gram bags, and we'll get to that. But he understands that. So if you're a reviewer, you need to think about who your audience is, who the Paydirt is intended for, and what the description of it says. So don't write this review for this bag and gear your review towards someone who's been panning for 30 years. You're doing a disservice to the intended audience that's supposed to buy this bag, and you're doing a disservice to your intended audience. If you want to make reviews for people who are looking for high value, do reviews of Paydirts that offer high value. Let's get to the next category before I'll get off my soapbox real quick. So that brings us to our next category of Paydirt, which is for the experienced prospector. And they're really looking for one of two things. Either they want a high ROI Paydirt, which stands for recovery of investment. They want to get as much gold, that high gas mileage car, that it's a commuter vehicle, they're driving every day. They want to get the most value for their money, and they want to just get that good gas mileage. So we have high ROI Paydirts for that, our full gram bag. We sell it for spot price. And there are a lot of other great Paydirt sellers that sell high ROI bags, and they're out there, and I would encourage you to look for them, try them out. Ours is our 1 gram Paydirt. We want to make more variety in those in the future, but right now we have our 1 gram Paydirt. In addition to high ROI Paydirts, experienced prospectors also are looking for difficult Paydirts. So I'm going to show you. This is our Iron Death Paydirt. So this is intended to be very difficult. And I'm actually going to put a link right here to one of my favorite reviews of our Iron Death Paydirt. It's done by Dylan Miller at Miller Prospecting. One of the things that I really like about Miller Prospecting's review is that he focused on the intent of the Paydirt. And in so doing, he actually pointed out that my Paydirt wasn't fully meeting its potential, and it wasn't fully meeting the intent of what I had said it did. He actually looked at my description and thought it was going to be more difficult. I said it was the most difficult Paydirt in the world, and some of it was a little bit of hyperbole, but I really talked up how difficult this Paydirt was. I underdelivered, and I took that feedback and I added more difficulty to it since then. So he did a really great job, and he gave me some great feedback, and we've made it more difficult. And one of the reasons why a high difficulty bag should be focused on the difficulty more than the high ROI is that these high difficulty bags, we have to add a lot of other things besides gold that can be really costly. So we add magnetic irons, I add hematite, or is it hematite? I'm not sure. We add pyrite, we add tungsten, which actually this is something that as a result of Dylan saying it wasn't hard enough, we add tungsten. So like this little tiny thing right here of tungsten, this is $75. So for me to add this to a bag of Paydirt like this, obviously I don't dump the whole thing in there, but for me to add that costs me a lot of money. So I have to add a little bit more to the price just to make up for the fact that I'm adding all these, mica, pyrite, hematite, all these different minerals that I'm adding. It costs more, but it makes it more difficult. So it's a slightly different, it's the same audience of people who have more experience, but a little bit different of a product. There are a ton of great Paydirts that are geared towards people who like these difficult Paydirts. We have ours. I think the most difficult one that I've heard of is by 9 Finger Mining. I also know that Gold Nugget Sales has a really great one called the Black Diamond. So there's some difficult bags out there, definitely not for beginners, but they're intended for people who are more experienced. They're looking for a challenge. And my message to reviewers, do what Dylan did, focus on the intent of that Paydirt and write your review based on who that audience is. It's a very different video than you would do for a small bag like this. But maybe you fit in the third Paydirt audience, which is the premium or the collector. There are actually a lot of Paydirts out there that cater to this audience. One of my favorite Paydirt sellers is Chris at Troubled One Paydirt. He has his channel, a YouTube channel, so I'll put a link right here. Chris's Paydirts have a lot of fun things that he puts in the Paydirt to add some variety to it. He'll add silver nuggets, which I don't see very many people doing that. He might have garnets or cool rocks or gemstones that he puts in there. And so it's about more than just finding the gold value. So maybe you're not getting the same gas mileage for how much gold you're getting, but you're going to be experiencing and finding really cool other stuff that you can collect and put on the side. At Gold Baron Paydirt, we have our own premium Paydirts, and typically those are the Gold Baron Legends, but that's not the only ones that we have. I'll show you one of them though. So this is Gold Baron Legends number 1, and again, if our high ROI Paydirts are those high gas mileage, high value, it's totally different. You can't compare it, and if you're a reviewer, you really need to be using a different set of criteria when you're going to review something like this. This is intended to be a limited edition collector's item. So we only sold, for Gold Baron Legends number 1, we're only selling 60. It comes with a collector's card. There's a puzzle quest. We have, the Paydirt actually came in a canvas sack. We have this limited edition. It's actually got a seal of authenticity, and it comes in a nice box. So it's a whole experience, and it's completely different. This is your luxury car. This is your sports car. This is your Rolex. A Rolex isn't really giving you good value for your money if you're just looking at it as something that tells time. It does a lot more than that. Again, it's about the feeling, the experience. It's about the collector's value. It's something you can show off, something you can put on a shelf and show everybody. It's a completely different world of Paydirt compared to our beginner bags that you'd want to give to a 5-year-old kid. This is something that you've been panning for years and you enjoy panning, but now you want to put something on your shelf. Now you want something that you can maybe hold on to and sell in a few years because someone else wants to complete their collection and you have your collector's card and they don't have collector's card number 1. This needs a totally different way of reviewing it than these do. You don't look at that used car that you just bought for your 16-year-old and compare it to your Lexus or your Ferrari. I'm not going to compare my daughter's $5 Bluey watch to a Rolex. They both tell time, but they're different, and so they need different criteria. So this is just my message to reviewers. If you're a reviewer and you want to see more Paydirts like this get created, if you want to see the next Gold Baron Legends, and I have a theme for that ready, and it's exciting, and it's going to be totally different, and it's going to have some really cool stuff that comes with it. If you want that, you have to make this review for people who are into collecting, people who are into those limited edition box sets. Focus on the beauty of the packaging, focusing on the design. Like literally, I designed this card, I designed this wax seal, I had to get it custom made, I designed the embosser for the seal of authenticity, I designed the box, the bag, I had to make a new logo. All of that is a huge time investment, and so it costs a little bit more than something that this is my bread and butter that we do every day is our full gram bags. If you're a reviewer and you want to see sports cars on the road and you want to see luxury cars on the road, but you also want to see new drivers and kids coming in and joining the community and families learning to pan together so they can go out and they can go panning when they go camping and they're exploring and trying different Paydirts all around the world, you have to create videos that are focused on the different Paydirts and review them for what they're intended. And if you're a prospector, you have to ask yourself the same questions. What's the right Paydirt for you? And only you can decide that. Only you know what you're going to enjoy. Are you going to enjoy that nice Rolex watch and you're going to enjoy showing off that Paydirt and you've got that spot in your man cave and you're going to set it up and make it look really nice? Well, check out a premium Paydirt. If you want to start a rock collection, go to Troubled One Paydirt and go buy his Paydirts that have all sorts of cool garnets and different rocks and gemstones in it. Go buy that one. Make it, collect it, have fun. Don't fixate just on the price of the gold. Look for something that you're going to enjoy. If you're new, don't fixate on the cost of the gold. Find something that's going to be affordable for you. Now, I'm going to throw a caveat in there. There are Paydirt sellers that sell in every category that are way overpriced. And that's why we need and rely on reviewers to guide us in the right direction. We need them to go out there and buy the different Paydirts, review it for how it's intended, and tell us whether it's a fair price. If I create a limited edition collector's Paydirt and it's really terrible quality and there's no collector's value, I would expect someone to give me that negative feedback, just like Dylan did with my Iron Death Paydirt, right? It wasn't as difficult as I said it was. So that reviewer did a great job of giving that feedback to his audience, but also to me, so that I could know that I needed to make, I was actually worried. I didn't want to make it too difficult. I didn't want to make it under difficult. And I ended up making it under difficult as a result. So we need Paydirt sellers in every category to help guide us. They have to try the different Paydirts and share it with us, and we can watch those videos. Maybe that's your future calling. You're a beginner now and you haven't tried all the Paydirts yet. Now's the great time to start filming yourself, making reviews of different Paydirts. Maybe I'll be watching your video next. Until next time, it's the Gold Baron from Gold Baron Paydirt, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, subscribe, and see you next time.